like the look of paper mache projects for sculpting, but you don't want the mess and all the bother of doing it? Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was an instant paper mache?
There is, Kate.
There is?
Activa Products Celluclay.
Now, Celluclay is an unusual product. Can you tell me a little bit about it, Sally?
Yes, Celluclay is ground paper with hardening additives. We have it in two colors. We have white, which is made from surplus, unused, recycled, non-printed stock, and our gray is made from recycled, printed stock.
So the entire product is recycled from something else and safe and non-toxic.
It is completely safe and non-toxic. It has an AP seal of approval.
Well, I want to see how to use it, Sally. What do we do?
Well, it is so great, and the wonderful thing about Celluclay is that it air dries. There's no firing required, and once it's dry, it is sandable, sawable, nailable.
My goodness.
And very, very lightweight.
So it's an economical product to use.
It certainly is. It's used by display houses, museums use it for static displays because it is a very durable, lasting product.
So we're showing it in some small samples today,
yes,
but it can be done in great,
it can.
things.
Yes, we have artists that are doing life-size animals.
Let's see how to do it.
Well, here we have Celluclay, and I find the easiest way to mix it is to break it off and crumble it in a plastic bag.
So the mess is going to be contained right in the bag.
The mess is contained right here. And this is so much easier than the old-fashioned way with strips of paper and flour and water.
And the mess everywhere.
Yes. Now we're going to add water. And then you close the bag, and you're going to knead away your frustrations and the cares of the day for about 10 to 15 minutes is optimum mixing time.
So it's kneading just like you do with bread dough.
Just as you would with bread dough, and you want it to, you really should knead it 10 to 15 minutes to make sure that all of these paper fibers are thoroughly moistened. You literally will have paper clay when you're finished, and this is what Celluclay looks like when it has been kneaded and mixed. And then you would put it on a surface. You can put it on a cutting board. You could put it on a piece of plastic.
Now, can you make things freeform?
You most definitely may. I like to further compress Celluclay and get it to a more uniform thickness by rolling it with a rolling pin.
And I notice you're putting the plastic over it again.
You're putting it, that just protects your rolling pin.
Sure, so you don't have a mess on there.
Yes, everything is completely non-toxic and safe, but at least this saves washing the rolling pin.
Right.
And here's the Celluclay. Now, if you want to freeform, as we have done in some jewelry
that we
pieces,
have here,
you would just pull a piece off. And
get your desired shape.
You get your desired shape.
Now we're making one like the pin.
We're making
right
one
here.
like the pin you see there.
And then it air dries naturally?
Yes, it air dries. You just leave it and let it air dry. It really takes about 48 hours for it to be dry, completely dry, ready for painting and sealing. And Celluclay will accept all paints and stains.
So once you've painted something like this, would you put a clear sealer on top?
You could if you choose to. You don't have to, but if it's you really, for durability, you could put an acrylic or even a polyurethane,
spray
which does waterproof it.
Okay, let's look at some of the primitive forms that we have here that can be done. Now, those are done using something everybody has in the kitchen.
Everyone has in the kitchen, and this is a marvelous project for Celluclay with children. Cookie cutters.
Cookie cutters.
Yes, and you can just take, just as you would cookie dough, use your cookie cutters, press in, cut out a shape,
and again,
and then let it air dry. And if you wanted to do this for a tree ornament or some sort of decoration, let it dry and then paint and decorate to your desire.
Like we've done with our little Christmas wreath. Now, you said that's just a color wash.
That is a color wash, and this particular piece was done in a stoneware mold.
And so is the beautiful angel and swan over here. Now, those are done that same way?
Yes, they are, and the trick to releasing them from that mold is toilet paper.
Toilet paper?
You put a layer of toilet paper in and wet it, and then you compress the Celluclay in, and you can pull it right out of the mold, and there is no distortion or stretching of your detail and design.
That's wonderful. Now, if we go to a bigger project, like let's say our little bunny over here, that's done using a mold.
That is done using a plastic mold, and she is hollow. And here is an example of a plastic mold. Now, you would roll your Celluclay out to about 1/2 inch thick, and just pretend this is an odd-shaped pie plate that you're filling. And you fill both sides. Then you close them up, and I told you that you can't get it out without distorting the details.
Right, so, and it has to air dry, so what do we do?
Yeah, what do? You put it in your freezer.
The whole mold, just like this?
The whole mold.
Okay.
You put it in for 4 to 5 hours, and you literally have a Celluclay ice cube.
So then we can lift one off,
and then in about 60 seconds, it releases. And you remove it, and it air dries, and it thaws as it dries.
Now, it should be fastened together, but if we need to reinforce those two areas...
If you need to reinforce those seams, if you feel that you want them a little bit tighter, use Mighty Tacky.
Okay, and just seal those
craft glue
together.
And put it just, I reinforced the bunny. And another trick with freezing is, if you tried to dry this in an upright position, in an unfrozen state, the body's not going to support the head, but frozen, everything's fine.
Let's talk a little bit about doing shapes over armatures, and we have some examples of things that you told me can be used. Do you want to explain that a little bit, Sally?
Yes. Celluclay can be sculpted onto an armature shape, and what that is a solid surface. You can crumple foil, newspaper, you could use a plastic container, you can use a bottle.
Now, do you always leave that armature in the
Not
sculpting?
if you use our product Rigid Wrap, which is a plaster impregnated cloth.
So we can combine the two products?
You can combine the two products. They blend beautifully, and you get your basic shape, then you refine the shape with Rigid Wrap. And then once Rigid Wrap sets up in 3 minutes, you would remove the plastic if you were using this, and you have a lovely pie shell armature. And then you sculpt the Celluclay on, and that little e-glue could make a wonderful history or social studies project for schools.
Absolutely, and for that we would take the bowl out.
Yeah, you would take it out. You don't need it.
Let's take a look at some other things that were done with an armature. Look at this heavy, heavy brick, except it's not heavy, heavy at all. It's very lightweight.
Now, remember I told you that display houses and set designers and museums use Celluclay. That is an example of a way that it's used realistically.
And then that would be something like chicken wire with Rigid Wrap over the top of it?
No, actually an impression was taken of a rock.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
And then obviously the rock was removed, and you have the Rigid Wrap armature.
Well, we want to finish by showing the Freeform that you have over here, which also has a beautiful finish, and that can be sculpted in any way that you'd like.
Yes, it can. All you need is just a tool, and you sculpt, and you can make architectural emblems.
They're beautiful, Sally. Thank you so much. Whatever your sculpting and molding needs are, Instant Paper Mache or Celluclay by Activa will be the product of your choice.